All right, folks, welcome back to the Ginger Ball Podcast, episode 49. We have the Western Conference Finals in full swing. Game 5 was last night. OKC goes up 3-2. The Knicks swept the Cavs, who completely quit. And we found out that Kenny Atkinson, Donovan Mitchell, James Harden are all going to be back next year. We'll get to that. We have a Phillies pitcher making history, Christopher Sanchez. But first, folks, Beck, Ryan, how we doing?
I'm doing better than the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah, it sucks. Now we have off nights where we don't have playoff games. So it's
I
the first
know.
time in a while.
Thanks a
No
lot,
basketball
Cavs.
action on. Yeah, it's tough to deal with. We're in kind of a dire time right now, but we'll make the best of it.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, but bummed that the Spurs couldn't pull that one out last night. Feel like kind of a missed opportunity, but we'll get to that. Just kind of praying we end up getting a good finals because it's been a very rough go of it on the Eastern side for sure. Spurs Thunder hasn't been a bad series at all, but I think we're hoping for some more right now.
Yeah, for sure. First, let's give a quick shout out to our boy Christopher Sanchez. Becomes the Phillies leader in franchise history for consecutive innings of scoreless pitching. He's up to 42, I believe now, and passing some all-time greats on the way. 115-year-old record that he just broke. It's fucking insanity. Any words about what he's doing right now and what the Phil's pitching staff in general has done?
Yeah, he's special. Wheeler's special. Luzardo's been cooking as well. They're in a decent spot for how bad they started in firing their manager. I mean,
Game and a half back of the wild card currently.
yeah. I'm looking at this right now. I can't believe the Cubs have lost 10 straight games.
Yeah, 10 straight.
Insane.
But yeah, I mean they're in a pretty good spot. But again, they have to show me something for me to believe offensively. It's just they've had too good of pitching staffs to just
Let me
completely
stop you
waste
right
this
there.
again.
They will show you nothing because this offense is still horrifically bad.
Yeah.
We have two good hitters with Marsh not playing. With Marsh, I'll give you three between Marsh, Harper, and Schwarber. But the rest of this lineup's just an absolute travesty. And I know this is supposed to be about Sanchez, but let's talk about how bad this lineup is real quick. Once you get through the first three good players, like I said, the next best OPS on this team is 660. Ellis is dipping below 600 OPS now, I believe. So the right field rental or left field rental, if you want to combine it with like the Keplers of the world and all that weirdness, it's just been horrific from Dombrowski. And I think Phillies fans I think last year, like we knew we were getting to the end of potentially this offense's window. And I think after the way last season went, we were sure of it this offseason. Obviously, they tried to get Bichette. He's been a little bit of a disaster, but they did not address the outfield at all. And Bohm's still here. Stott's still here. Turner's been horrible, even though he's been good the past week. But they just have literally no hitting aside from the three guys that I mentioned prior. But shout out to Sanchez. Second pitcher ever since 1913 to go a full month without allowing a run. And that's only qualified by 30 innings pitched. He threw 40.
Yeah.
So just insane. I mean, guys finished second in Cy Young last year. Really, Phillies pitchers have just gotten extremely unlucky with the Cy Young. I believe we have three second place finishes in a row between him and Wheeler. Hopefully one of them gets it this year. Obviously, Sanchez has a better shot since he's been pitching the whole year, but Wheeler deserves some credit as well. I mean, an injury that has been a career ender for a lot of guys, especially at his age. I believe Wheeler's 33, I want to say, maybe even 34. I expected him to come back, but I kind of
35.
expect 35. I mean, even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
I definitely expected him to still be effective, but I definitely thought that we had seen the last of dominant Wheeler. I thought he'd have to grind out 6 innings, 2 earned, 3 earned, that type of deal. And he just completely looks like himself. He even alluded to he wasn't sure if he was done after this year. And prior, it seemed like once he finishes his contract, that was it. So, I mean, I'll keep him around as long as he wants to stick around. He's a horse. Super underappreciated, I think, just in terms of Philadelphia athletes as a whole. I don't think people realize how good he is. But same goes for Sanchez. These two dudes are just ballers. Luzardo's turned it on a little bit. Aaron Nola he's Aaron Nola for sure. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe the deadline they do something, but like Beck said, it's hard for me to get excited about this team when the offense is what it is. Though I would be happy to see them like make a push for the wild card and all that. I still want them to do well, but tough to see them doing anything with this offense.
Yeah, it's like I'm just going through their stats right now. Adolis Garcia is third on the team in walks.
Yeah,
Like, and he's
it's
supposed
bad,
to be
man.
a chase bat. Like Trey Turner only has 17 walks. He's the most at bats by 20 at bats. And I voiced this to
Trey
Ryan when they
Turner's
signed
hitting
him.
220, man.
He's a guy who's a big chase guy, and it like as his career and he gets older goes on, he's like that's going to be an issue, and he's underwhelmed in Philly. Like
Absolutely, yeah. I think you
for
would
the
say
most part, yeah.
Last year was probably his best year, but the power certainly wasn't there like you'd expect with Turner. Like he's typically been like at least a 20 home run guy, sometimes getting mid 20s, high 20s, and he didn't hit many last year. I know that, but he had a good average. So like at this point, it was kind of like you take what you can get with Turner. Like you're not going to complain about him winning the batting title because he has been so up and down, but just bad stuff, man. There's $300 million shortstop can't hit 220. It just can't happen.
Yeah.
And he's like dead set on playing short. Their roster construction, it's like they don't have flexibility at the corner outfield positions because Schwarber is like an everyday DH.
Yeah, he simply can't.
And then you bring in Adolis, and he's like basically a DH at this point too.
I mean, he's better in the field than they've had. Like he's much better than Castor.
At least he's got a cannon.
Yeah, like he gives you something in the outfield, which is more than we could say for guys before.
I guess so. Essentially to me though, he's the same player.
Yeah,
more or less.
Yeah, if you squint, it's just like, all right.
Yeah, and that's what kills this offense to me is they have no flexibility anywhere.
I mean, just look at the right-handed hitting.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, Bohm had a good month.
Bohm's the best right-handed hitter on this team. Like,
yeah. Well, that's the problem is when you play lefties, the lineup's bad, dude. Like, it's really bad.
The right-handed hitting is just atrociously bad, man. Like, you could make a legit argument that, like, Justin Crawford's their best right-handed bat right now.
And he, since his hot start, has
he's been
much
what
worse.
I expected. I mean, he's a rookie.
He's
like he's given me exactly what I thought he would. So, like, a 640 OPS for Justin Crawford as a rookie is about what you'd see from him with his like tool of hitting. It's not the best. He's a slap hitter type of guy, but like there's just nothing you can do when you're getting 220 out of Turner, 210 out of Bohm, 220 out of Stott. Like these are guys that are not power guys that aren't even hitting 230. Like it's just not. And then when you sign an elderly catcher for 3 years, 45 million, when you're bidding against no one, it's like, what'd you expect, man? They put themselves in this hole, unfortunately.
Yeah, the Phillies to me, it's just like it's such a tired process with them. It's like the whole thing is just like it feels like they're procrastinating on a rebuild at this point, and it's just gotten to the point where like you're seeing the same shit over and over again to the point of like it's driving you to insanity. It's like I don't know how many more times I can just like watch it. And Beck, you're right. Like I know Adolis is a different profile of right fielder, but he's essentially the same guy that we've had in right field. Yeah. And like he 100%. Doesn't add anything to this lineup.
No.
So yeah, I mean it's just watching the same old thing over and over again. On Sanchez though, I do just want to say there was a tweet I saw, shout out Baseball World. They tweeted the greatest awards race in MLB history is the 2026 NL Pitcher of the Month. Do you know what Jacob Mizorowski is doing in Milwaukee this month?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I can't believe they put it all together this fast.
Yes. And like Sanchez, he had 32 innings pitched, 0.00 ERA, 36 strikeouts. Batters were batting 170 against him, and he had a 1.7 WAR for the month.
Silly.
And Mizorowski probably has a better case for the award. He has 31.1 innings pitched. The ERA is a little higher at 0.29, sorry. 49 Ks in a month and a 2.0
it's
WAR.
Silly, man.
Like, dude, Chase Burns. really
I
a
believe
good saying it
Sanchez.
too. If he didn't give up 2 runs last night, like he only gave up 2 runs in 5 starts before the.
Yeah, but that's like the
Unless
craziest shit. It's like
unless
you
I
can
have the
pitch
cutoff
perfectly.
wrong. Okay, so I'm looking at just the last 30 days. So it could be a little bit off because it's not just May. It's
Right.
giving you like the last of April. But in these last 30 calendar days, so the biggest difference is Miz is at 31 innings, and I guess the way it falls, we get an extra Sanchez start because he has 6 starts in this time. Miz has 5. So Sanchez has thrown 14 more innings, basically. But you have a .29 ERA versus a .39 ERA. Whips both below .77. Miz is at .5.
Silly.
Sanchez is giving up more hits. A lot of hits. Guys are almost averaging 180 off him. Miz, they're averaging 105 off. Just silly stuff. Really insane
Yeah.
stuff from them.
Yeah, but shout out Sanchie, past Grover Alexander, who died in 1950 for that Phillies franchise record. So big shout out to him, and hopefully the bats start to figure it out. But we probably know how that ends. Let's get to the hoops. NBA playoffs. Obviously, the Knicks sweep the Cavs. The story out of that one, though, is not on the basketball floor where the Cavs absolutely gave up. It's in the resulting media storm where we find out that not only are they bringing back their coach Kenny Atkinson, who his guys fucking gave up on him. They're also bringing back the guys who gave up. So they're bringing back Mitchell. Seemingly, they're not going to trade Mobley. We'll see what happens with Jared Allen. They're bringing back Harden, it looks like, on an extension. What do you make of this this run it back situation here for Cleveland?
I told you the last pod we did. This is before they played a single game in the Knicks series. It's like, yeah, they've gotten further this run than they have in the whole Mitchell era. They got to the conference finals for the first time, but it felt completely underwhelming. And I mean, me and you completely agreed on that. I mean, you go 7 with the Raptors team that's undermanned completely, and they don't have near the talent that you have. And then a Pistons team that, while you did go down 2-0 and you win 4 out of the next 5, it's like you should have never got down 2-0 to a team like that in the first place either, that you have much more talent than they do as well. And you get to a series where you face your first test and you're playing great basketball. The Knicks look like they have a lot of rust that they have to play off, and you blow. I mean, it's one of the worst blown games in game 1 of all time, and that defined the series. Like,
Yeah, that was
big.
the series right there.
Exactly. And they could never get over the top. And Mitchell says after game 1 that it's just one game, but like we blew it and he tried to pass it off. That's something that, they can overcome. But then after game 3, he's like, then that's why you can't blow a game like game 1. So obviously that's something that's in the players' minds as well. And I'm really, when you look at both these rosters, the Knicks are getting everything that they can get out of what they have, and the Cavs are they're not maximizing their talent. And I know we're only into year 2 of this Atkinson experiment, and they had a great year last year until like injuries kind of derailed them. But if you're looking at like an assessment of just this year in total, they did not get the most out of what they had at all. And a quote from Evan Mobley really stood out to me, like after they got swept, and he said, "I have to learn how to minimize my game." That should not be what they're looking. They should be looking
I didn't
for
see
him
that.
to
That's
maximize his
confusing
tools.
quote.
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
It seems like he's confused about like his role, and or maybe not even confused, but he seems like there's not confidence there that he can really be an offensive focal point. And I mean, if you're bringing all these same guys back, especially when you look at the peripherals with Mitchell's playoff stats and how much time he just has the ball in his hands without a pass, and how ISO ball heavy it is, like I have a tough time seeing anything changing, and I have a tough time seeing the East being weaker than it was this year. But I mean, it's the East, so you never really know. But overall, I don't think the Cavs are in a spot where you're like optimistic at all for next year, and they'll probably just have like a short leash on Atkinson. Like if it starts off bad, I can totally see
he's gone, and then
that's the worst situation to be in, dude. Totally. Like the lame duck coach. That's why, like, when now as the Sixers transition to a new president of basketball operations, I'm like,
why is Nurse
why
here?
the fuck are we keeping Nick Nurse on? Like, it's not good for anyone involved.
I mean, we're not going to do shit next year anyway, even if it was a new coach. Like, that's not going to like put us over the edge. But it's just like if the year doesn't go like great and they fire him after a year so the GM can find his own guy, it's like, what's the point? Like, let's just do it now. So
Yeah.
if I'm a Cavs fan, I'm pissed at just how mopey they were. Just like Beck said,
Special.
great call from my man.
Special.
He had 20/20 vision on that, and he was exactly right. And I feel like after game one, after they collapse and blow that game, it's a feeling that I felt like as a Sixers fan when you know that you're probably not the most like mature team or the better team, and you know you don't have any opportunities to waste. It's like kind of how I felt when we blew that game against the Knicks in 23 with the Maxi turnover, the DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of knew right then the series was a wrap because like these teams like that are kind of weak mentally, you cannot blow games like that. You have to finish those off. And the Knicks, they didn't look good in that game, obviously, until the end. But the one thing I definitely don't have to like question with them is like their mental toughness. I feel like they're a very like together unit. And you just kind of know you're going to get 100% from them game in and game out on every end of the floor in every aspect of the floor. So the one thing I'm worried about with like the Knicks looking ahead is like, so I came away very impressed with them after the Sixers series. And I said on the pod, like, no matter if it's the Spurs, Thunder, whoever, I think they have a shot in the finals. I still think that's true. But now I'm kind of like, is the East just so trash that like they're not as good as the East has made them look? Because I still think they'll have a chance against either Spurs or Thunder, but I'm kind of questioning if they've looked a lot better than they actually are because of how just truly horrible the Eastern Conference is. So that's something I'm thinking about. But with the Cavs, I mean, let alone bringing back Atkinson, like I could twist my arm and see it being the right call, even though I don't. I mean, the team quit on him. It's really that simple. But bringing back Harden, it's just like, what are we doing? Like, why, man?
I mean, it's a
multi-year extension.
It should be the transition off Mitchell.
That too, but I'm fine with that. But at least Mitchell, you're not extending right now. You can do nothing with Mitchell if you wanted to and trade him later.
Also, Harden, it could just be posturing to say that he's coming back.
But Harden, you're actively like, you're our guy. Like, we're bringing you, but like Daryl Morey, his biggest fan, wouldn't even do that to him 2 years ago. So like, I just don't understand what the Cavs are doing. Like,
do you think it's a sunk cost thing with the Garland trade where they're just like not willing to accept that they kind of blew it?
I guess so. But like to me, if you move off Mitchell, obviously, like if you keep Harden around, your ceiling's capped for how far you can go. But at least I feel like he could maximize Mobley more so than a team that has Harden and Mitchell on it. So you kind of, give away an opportunity at a championship for your season in theory. Like, obviously they're not going to say that, but in our minds, that's how we would look at it for potentially a better, more polished version of Evan Mobley.
That's a good point.
Road.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather do that than just run it back. I'd rather keep Mitchell, let Harden walk than run it back. Like, I'd rather do pretty much.
Is it crazy to say the opposite? That I'd rather bring Harden back on like a reasonable extension and trade Mitchell?
I think you maximize Mitchell's value right now. You gotta get one of them out.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
That's crazy at all. Any option is better than just bringing everyone back. Like, I think that accomplishes absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and also like we saw with Harden in Philly when that was the best season offensively of Joel's career. Besides the 36-12 when he got hurt, but
right?
He got the most out of Joel Embiid. He also helped with the development of Maxey alongside of him.
Yeah.
So like Harden, whether or not we know he quits in the playoffs, we know that your ceiling is capped with James Harden, but there's a developmental track record associated with him being on your team, and your offense will look better with him there, especially in the regular season. So keeping him around, I think, is overall fine. I think if you are going to have him for the duration of this extension, that's probably an issue because you don't want to waste the Mobley prime.
The idea of getting something for Mitchell and bringing Harden back. I would just kind of assume that like you'd let him walk if you do trade Mitchell, but I kind of like that. Like, that kind of is my favorite path forward that you brought up, Beck. The only thing is, I wouldn't want to extend Harden for more than like a year.
Right, but he would never do that.
Mm,
He
but
is the multi-year extension guy.
Is anyone giving him that though?
Cleveland.
Anyone else? Like
somebody, I mean, I will not rule out any organization from taking the Harden swing after what we've seen with the past 5 years. Like, he has value in league circles. Like, that just is the truth of the matter. Especially
I'd be cool with like a trade of Mitchell and give him like 2, but
well, he will get 2. I think that it'll be the 2+1 he always gets, where it's a club option the third year, a player option the third year.
And then you get like a full year out of him, and then maybe in year 2 of that deal, he gets tired of it, and then you can trade him.
Probably.
Yeah. Also, I think for the Cavs, another pivot, and these aren't individual pivots. You can do both of these. Is get off of Allen and get cheaper at center. Like
totally.
I think we all think that you can't play center for like a long
height of your value too.
Version of time, but you can easily get cheaper at center and get fundamentally what you need out of a center alongside Mobley without paying as much more to Allen.
Give him more like room to operate with just basically a worse version of Allen.
Yeah, Allen's like not even really a lob threat, which I think that this team kind of desperately needs. I like a Gafford for them. Like you sub those out, I feel especially like money wise, I feel really good about that.
Yeah, it is interesting to think about. Like, we talked about Harden's value and like the development of Mobley and even maybe Allen as well. But like, it's interesting to think about if you went that archetype of player, but like a younger player instead, as your like that should be, I think, what the Cavs look for as their next guy to pair alongside Mobley, is a guy who like is more of a facilitator, and like it doesn't have to be a real James Harden, but like. Them, to me, just off the top of my head right now, I know he's hurt right now, but AJ Mitchell next to Mobley, isolation scorer, can get downhill, can facilitate. I think that's an interesting one. But like somebody, and I know the lefty comparison's obvious there, but like somebody who can sort of just create more easy offense for Mobley, I think should be the priority. And we see that like with Mitchell, who, Beck, you pulled up the stat in the chat, I think it was yesterday. That's a guy who wants to get his own shot. Like, that's just who Mitchell has been. That's who he'll always be. And if he can't, on his own, take you to the mountaintop with his offensive game and with what he brings to the table, because he is a smaller guard who also has some deficiencies on the defensive side, then you need a new archetype of star next to Mobley, if it is Mobley that you want to build around. So
Quentin Grimes.
Fuck. Better as a number 1 than as a 6 man.
But
seriously,
you kind of outlined it, Hunter. Like that's why I'm so out. Like if I'm a team, I don't want Mitchell. It's because he's basically point guard size.
Yeah,
he really hasn't learned how to play. Like he's so small that you don't want to play him as a 2 guard. But he doesn't really even have optionality as a 2 guard because he hasn't learned how to play 2 guard. Like he's been playing point guard basically since his second year.
So like as long as he is and as athletic as he is, he should be a way better point of attack defender.
I mean, he was hyped up as like a defensive prospect.
That was his thing. And obviously his game changed and like he's giving you way more on offense than you would expect when he came into the draft. But like I'd still like to see your defense be solid, and not like he's like a below average defender.
Yeah, and like I've watched many playoff games of his. Like to me, he has a conditioning issue too.
Wow,
like he dies down the stretch. Yeah,
speak on it. Let's go.
No, like I would really look at trying to fucking if we could enhance that in any way. Like
telling his fat ass to get in the gym.
He doesn't have like what it takes to give you effort on both sides of the ball.
Well, the effort, yeah. And that's, to me, if I were a Cavs fan, the biggest thing that I would be upset about all of these guys being announced as coming back is like, you just watch your team literally quit.
Yeah, one of the
2
worst
straight games that you needed.
Yeah, one of the worst, just most obvious, we don't want to be here efforts I've seen in recent history.
Yeah, I mean, the end of game 3 is just, that was the definition of the Mobley Cavs right there.
And that's not even it wasn't even the go home game where it's like at the end of a game 4 and you're down 30 quit. It's like game 3, man. Like you have a chance to like get a foothold back in the series and start to figure some things out. And you're quitting then already? Like, what are we doing, man? And that's Beck, when we talked about how we didn't feel like, and you brought it up again at the beginning of this pod, is we felt like even though this is the furthest they've gone, we still feel like something's not there with the Cavs. Is because they have reached the furthest they've ever reached, and we know that they're not built for it. And it's almost like that realization makes it even sadder. The fact that they even went another round further than they have gone and nothing really changed. And if anything, it really just exploited their flaws 10 times more. This was like the worst set of scenarios where not only is it you flew through the first round or you flew through the second round and you sort of made this run, it was you fell into the conference finals and then you had a lead in game one. You won the rest versus rust for 3 quarters. You give up a historically big lead in the fourth quarter, and then you quit. And this is what you're left with. And if I'm a Cavs fan, I'd be miserable right now. This is a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, and it feels like the decision to bring Atkinson back is based off them getting as far as they did. But I
Yeah,
mean, there's
for
multiple
sure.
things like off just the top of your head that really stick out to you where you can say he got out coached. It's not the not calling the timeout in game one down the stretch, like at all. Mismanaged that.
Right.
And then he got kind of played by Mike Brown multiple times throughout the series with Mitch Robinson and him just subbing Mitch Robinson in to get them into the bonus and then subbing them out.
Special
And
for
he
Mike,
played them
by the
like a
way.
fiddle
Yeah.
multiple times in the series with that.
I
Dude,
was gonna
Mike
say that
Brown,
point.
Yeah.
he's the man, dude.
I was gonna say that point about Atkinson earlier. Like, not only did they quit, and like, don't get me wrong, he's not the reason they lost the series. Like, they obviously weren't gonna win no matter what. And the players, they did quit. But like, he had a pretty questionable series from just a coaching perspective as well. Like, it's not like they just got beat. Like, there's definitely some things that Beck pointed to that, yes, they got further than they have in recent history, but it's got to be more nuanced than just we made it to the conference finals, success, our coach is back. Because I just don't see a world where they improve upon the way this ended this year. Like, are they going to go back to the conference finals again next year? Like, you're going to get a much better Boston team, probably, you would imagine, probably an improved Pistons team. And who knows what other things happen, but I would expect those teams to be better. I just don't see how you can end the season this way and then bring everyone back with no changes and it gets better. Not.
Yeah, you're
And
also
it
never
doesn't
going to
blow
get
up
like
in your
that
face.
favorable of a bracket ever
For
again.
sure.
Yeah. Do you think that there's any truth to the idea that like it doesn't benefit the Cavs at all to go into this offseason telling everyone that it's a fire sale? Like maybe it's just a case of the front office sort of holding their cards close to their chest and kind of going into next year, at least giving the illusion that they're running it back just so that they can sort of retain the value of some of their guys.
I mean, that puts more of a onus on them to go out and figure out what they can get and get deals done. But
That's kind of what I was going to say. Like, it doesn't hurt you, but like, you're not going to lie and say, like, yeah, Atkinson's back. Like, just kidding.
No, not
we're
Kenny.
firing him.
No, I don't. I'm not talking about Kenny. More so
But even the other stuff too, like
Mitchell and
Harden's a free agent, so who cares what other
yeah,
teams? It's really just like Mitchell to me because it really doesn't seem like they're trading Mobley, which I don't think they should move
no,
Mobley.
he's the guy.
So
yeah.
like Mitchell's the only guy, and if you're lying and saying like, yeah, we're back, we're running it back, eventually you're, like I said, you're going to be the one calling teams like the cat, and then it's going to get reported. The Cavs are checking on offers on Donovan Mitchell, and then it's out there anyway. So, I mean, I do see the thinking that it can help, but it's going to come out at some point. So, like, does it matter if it's right now or in 4 months? I don't really think so.
Yeah, I'm also interested to see what this Harden contract looks like when he does sign it because Harden's not really a guy to take a less expensive deal. He's not really a guy who will
Thank
like.
God, his current contract
Yeah,
is
he's
more
on
than
$41
I
million
thought.
a
It's
year.
more than I
Yeah,
thought it
it's
was.
a very he was the he was a very high
Yeah.
paid basketball player for the past couple of years. And I'm wondering if it's another contract like that, you're in really dire straits in terms of your team construction because you can't really build out the same way that we thought
Is
that their
there?
second unit sucked this year. It's going to
Yeah.
suck again. It might even be worse if you have to pay
Is
him like
there
this.
any world where they can talk him into, because he's a player option? Is there any world they can talk him into just accepting that?
And
and then
Depends
revisit
what
it
he
next year.
thinks. Yeah, I mean, he's been on 6 teams at this point.
Yeah, yeah,
At some point, I feel like that matters to a player. Maybe not him, but
yeah.
like if you're searching for another team again, like bro,
I don't know if he
and it's
cares.
not even like 6 career teams. It's like
Five
6 teams
teams,
in the
but five
last,
teams, but three in the past
yeah,
3 seasons.
and five in like the last 5 seasons because he
Yeah,
got off
yeah.
the
If you
Rockets in
throw the
2020. So
Rockets in there, yeah, since the Rockets trade, it's
I mean,
since 22, he's been on 4 teams.
the more you move teams, the more chance there is that you cost yourself an opportunity at a contract like earlier on in your lifespan. And I know he's like 37 right now, but if you keep doing this
That's
team
why he
hopping
wants
thing,
years.
like you could, yeah, you
Yeah.
could cost yourself down the
Well,
line.
I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But
He did opt in with the Sixers, but obviously that was some different circumstances. Opted in with the Sixers and then declined it with the Clippers originally, and then signed that 2 year,
yeah.
$80 million contract that he somehow got.
The Cavs got to move like Mitchell or Allen though, dude. They don't have draft capital.
Yeah,
They have the 29th pick this year, but then they're not don't own their own pick for the next.
The more we've talked about it, the more
4
I'm
years.
just like, yeah, you have to move Mitchell for a haul.
Yeah, they don't have their own. Well, they have a 28 first, which is the least favorable of Cleveland, Utah, and Atlanta. And
I
then
don't think they're even going to entertain moving Mitchell.
They don't have
though,
their own first until 2030.
which I think is a mistake.
That's brutal, man.
Yeah, you gotta move off.
Yeah, you need to
Mitchell like
acquire
that.
assets. You also just need to fill up this roster like with competent role players, man.
Well, one
They
thing
don't have wings.
one thing that could shake things up is obviously we've seen the LeBron rumors of like he'd be willing to take a lot less.
Yeah.
And obviously Cleveland connection. Is that maybe something they're thinking about when they're like, we're running this back? Because
Well, yeah, I
have a
mean,
shot
we've been
Bron
talking
on
about
15 million for 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about LeBron to Cleveland for months, and I think that's 100% in the cards. I just don't like.
Especially
I love
now, because
LeBron.
I never really thought that LeBron would be a guy that would take like the 15 million like
Yeah,
mercenary kind of contract. I thought he'd still want like his 30 to plus, even more potentially.
right.
I mean, those are all rumors. You never actually really know what he wants, but it's been reported on like a decent amount that he'd consider it. So it's definitely worth thinking about with them, because I wonder if that's kind of what's in the back of their head. Like, we got to the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's not blow up the team. And if we add LeBron, like, we could take a run at it, which I don't hate, but like then it's like you better get LeBron or else
Yeah,
this is a wasted year.
I'm starting to run out of like where's even on LeBron's like cheap salary. They don't have
Yeah,
like
I mean, he's not
they
taking
don't
a
have
cheapo
cap
contract,
space.
TJ.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, they'd
Well,
still have to like get creative and move things around
Yeah,
quite a
like
bit.
they're gonna have to do something. I think the Allen move is the one that makes the most sense, just because like I still think he had a very good playoffs, and I think a lot of teams could talk themselves into him, and you'd get
Yeah,
you'd
I
get
think a
draft
lot of teams
compensation.
would want Jared Allen.
And that well, you'd have to take salary back, but that sort of would open the door to starting to make your books look a little bit better and making a LeBron swing in the offseason. Because I mean, if he is willing to take less money, which some reporting has said that he is, then I mean that's at least more interesting. And like LeBron is still a valuable basketball player in 2026, as wild as it is, and he provides value at a position of value, especially to the Cavs right now. So, yeah, I mean that's one way to think about it. But we'll get to the Cavs more in the offseason pods. Let's move to the West Coast.
Schroeder do 30 million over the next 2 years isn't great.
Yeah, not an easily movable contract. But let's get to the Western Conference Finals. We obviously had Game 5 where I made a video on TikTok where I said that I thought this series had sort of shifted in San Antonio's favor. It really felt just from a vibes-based perspective when you saw AJ Mitchell go out, when you saw J-Dub go out, and you saw the OKC bench have to play a ton more, and they're throwing in guys they didn't have to use earlier in the series. It's hard to feel like San Antonio had the upper hand in the series, and then in Game 5 in OKC, the bench is great, Caruso's great, Chet looks much better. Wemby looks awful. Fox looks awful. And here we are, 3-2 Thunder. What do we see? And what do you guys think for the rest of the series?
I think it goes seven. It's hard. You don't really get what you expect going into any of these games. The theme since game one of the series, though, is like the games the Spurs have lost 2, 3, and 5. It's almost like there's a force field on like 8 points or
Yeah.
5 points in game two where they can't get past that deficit. Like they will cut it down to that plenty of times, but once they get there, then the lead gets extended back to like 12 or 14. That's what I saw a lot of in this game. Like the Spurs cut it to 8 so many times. They just didn't
Yeah.
have enough offense to get over the hump in this one. And just a weird breakdown of like the shooting numbers for guys in this game make no sense. Like Champagny he had like 13 of their first 15.
Yeah.
He got Fox and Wemby both 4 of 15. Vassell
Vassell was
goes 2 of
terrible.
11 this.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that nothing makes sense. And it's the fear with the Spurs is like even with these Thunder injuries is they're just a weaker team in terms of depth. Like they're
Yeah.
not much to trust with this bench right now, especially if Harper like is this version of
Yeah.
himself, which sucks. I think that turned the series completely. And
Yeah.
man, unless you get a good Dylan Harper in both 6 and 7, I think you need him to like be a real factor in both of those games. I don't think the Spurs win the series. And it's easy to say now the Thunder only need to win one more game as opposed to the Spurs need to win 2 in a row. But yeah, that's really simply what it is.
Yeah. Ryan?
Yeah, I felt like this was kind of a must win for the Spurs with all the injuries that the Thunder had. I just felt like I just can't see them winning 2 in a row with one being an OKC. With how deep the Thunder are, as we've seen, like with all these injuries, they don't really miss a beat. And I mean, it'd be a different story if you were getting game one Harper, but
Yeah.
that clearly hasn't been the case. So this felt like a game they had to win if they were going to win the series, in my opinion. It feels kind of over to me, but obviously, if they win game 6, anything can happen in game 7. So I'm not like saying there's no chance or anything. I would just be very surprised if it did go the Spurs way in 7. But just a huge missed opportunity to me with all these injuries. And I know the Thunder are very deep, but like you get a good Castle game, you get a good Champagny game, you get a good Keldon Johnson game, who's had a pretty rough go of it this series, but you just get a horrible game from Fox, a horrible game from Vassell, pretty bad Wemby game that's salvaged
Very
by
bad.
12 of 12 from the free throw line. I don't know. Watching them, it feels like I don't know if I blame it more on Wemby or if it's just that the Thunder deserve a lot of credit for their defensive game plan on him. Like they've made it tough on him, but he has to have more shots than Champagny and Fox. Like to me, for them to win, it can't be. I mean, granted, if you get great Champagny and great Fox and great Keldon Johnson games, like yeah, it can be a recipe to win, but I'd rather go down with Wemby shooting it 25 times, in my opinion, especially in a game where
Depends what the shot is to me. But
yeah, that
Yeah,
too.
no, I was gonna say it's paint.
his
touches.
shot selection was awful. In this
Yeah,
one. I
it
thought
was-
I thought this was like the worst Wemby game I've seen
Yeah,
in
he's
like
bad. He was
a long
bad.
time.
Yeah, he looked
Obviously,
tired. The whole
he
team
goes
looked tired.
5 from 3, and he's definitely like feeling it physically. Like the Thunder are a physical team, as
Yeah.
we know. But I feel like they have to do a better job of getting him more looks closer to the rim. And it's easier said than done against this Thunder team. Like they're a fucking incredible defensive team. They play really hard, but they've just got to do a better job at getting him going because it's their only chance of winning. Their only chance of winning to me is like the 30-point Wemby games and stuff like that. With the way Harper has looked, if you're not getting the 18 to 20 a game from Harper that we were getting earlier in the playoffs, then it just feel like Wemby has to go nuclear for them to have a chance. I mean, in both games they've won, he scored 41 and then 33, and he shot it very efficiently in both those games. And the 3 games, his efficiency wasn't horrible in games 2 and 3, but it wasn't great. I think he was like 8 of 16 in both of those games, I want to say. But no team in the NBA has enough depth to deal with the Thunder.
Yeah, and one thing I want to say is like the way that Beck and I also brought this up on the last pod where we talked about the guys that you lose throughout a series. And we talked about early on how Cornette, obviously from game one, we could tell not the series for him.
No.
And on the OKC side, we thought Hartenstein might be the same thing for them. He was able to be re-entered into the series, and he's playable and beyond playable. He's killing it on the offensive glass and being a factor in the game. And I think the way that the lineups have changed throughout the series has really benefited OKC because San Antonio doesn't have another big to roll out there if Cornette's this unplayable. And what that does defensively for them is
Bismack. Oh.
Chet, yeah, Bismack special minutes at the end, is Chet gets every look he wants because it's so easy for them to switch a San Antonio guard onto Chet. And then he gets a favorable matchup, or you get Ihart in a position where he has a little push shot on the baseline. And what this series, the way it's unfolded, has just gone really poorly in terms of matchups for San Antonio, and especially with what we've gotten from, I mean, fuck, Kenrich Williams. Can he hustle big minutes off the bench in this one for OKC? Jalen Williams able to shoot the ball again when we're back at home. Jared McCain special again in this one. So there's just more swing factors on the OKC. Caruso shooting the piss out of the ball again. So many
They
swing
just have
factors
so many guys
on the
It's
OKC side
unbelievable.
versus if San Antonio's core formula doesn't work, then that's it. They need, in the two games they've won, it's Wemby has 41 and 24 and 33, 8 and 7. It's you need your formula to work to win games versus OKC can win in 45 different ways.
Many different, yeah.
And I think
the
that's the
interesting
story of
thing
the
is Wemby's rebounds are way down from
Yeah.
obviously 24 in game one, a little bit of an anomaly, but 17 in game two. Since then, as high as 8. So I think that kind of goes with the Hartenstein minutes. Like,
Yeah, Hartenstein at 15.
Definitely
he's
does.
really neutralized Wemby on the boards, which is another big thing. Because, like you said, they really don't have another guy that they can put. Because Cornette just, it's not working.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we joke about Biombo, but he's a better
He
option than
might,
Cornette.
he
at
might
this
give
point.
you something on the glass at least.
Yeah, at least foul somebody.
I think you have to try something.
Yeah,
You have
I mean,
to.
there's a fundamental problem with playing a 7-4 guy or like your center 38 minutes per night.
Yeah.
There just is, and there's no relief beyond them. And you have to find a way where you can get 10 minutes out of a combination of Biombo. Like I would even try Plumlee. Like fuck it, dude. You're on your last leg here. Just a 10-minute combination, 10 to 12-minute combination of Biombo, Plumlee, and Cornette that
Just see what
is
you get.
passable. And we're not like a minus 50 in terms of net rating when Wemby's off the court. I mean, that kills you.
Another
ahead.
thing with Wemby and kind of like his shot diet and the way he's been scoring is I feel like Thunder, their defense matches up so well, and they have so many guys that they can throw at him when he's like off the dribble. With how tall he is, like it's almost a disadvantage when he's trying to take a guy off the dribble, especially when OKC has guys like Dort and Chet. Like they just have so many dudes that they can throw at him that are also going to like rough him up a little bit because he is pretty slender. Obviously, at 7'4", it's kind of not much you can do. There's only so much weight you can add to a frame that big, but I feel like that's a big thing that's made it tougher on him is during the regular season and even in some of the playoffs against the Wolves. And like Gobert is too slow to guard him, so he can just kind of hook Gobert off the dribble. Like that's not really there in this series against OKC and all the defenders they have.
Yeah, for sure. And also you're seeing when they bring Wemby into ball screen actions when San Antonio does, like when they run Castle bringing the ball up and then Wemby gets into the action, you'll notice OKC will not switch the screen. They'll stay under it, and the center or whoever's behind Shea guarding Castle will sit and drop, and Shea will just kind of like throw his shoulder into Wemby a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just like over the course of a series, like
Absolutely.
just getting bumped and bruised that way, and then they're living with Castle shooting at the 3-ball, and like he had some threes in this one, and he's shot okay, but like you live with that, and I think it's just a gamble that they're willing to make to say, hey, we're gonna reduce Wemby's ability to get into the lane. We're gonna stop it at the source, where he doesn't even want to come down here because it's gonna hurt his ribs, it's gonna hurt his shoulder. Like make him sit out there. He's running up and down the court a lot. He just wants to sit and chuck a 3 from 29 feet. And I mean, we saw in this game, that's a terrible formula.
he needs to somehow get in the paint, and when he does, there needs like a big determining factor of his scoring output is the lobs. He's got
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
more lob passes thrown. So one thing I would throw out, and I know this is going to sound hilarious, but like, who do you think the best passer is on the Spurs?
Castle.
When Harper's right, I would probably say like Harper, just because
I
like
think it's Castle.
Castle's had the turnovers, man.
Yeah, I
But
think he's a good facilitator though.
he's no, I agree.
He's just risky.
I think it hurts a lot when he has to be the one to do all of it, like because Harper can't do any of it.
I'm trying to think
That's
of
the
who
thing.
Beck's saying. It's gonna be somebody spooky. Is
So
it Olenek?
Is it
No,
Connor
no.
Bryant?
No, Plumlee,
Carter Bryant?
because you have
Plumlee?
You said Plumlee?
Let's go.
So the Spurs guards have an issue of getting into the paint, first of all.
Yeah.
Second, we would agree that like the Thunder's length make it probably the toughest out of any team on Wemby with Chet, Ihart, all those bodies down there, right? So if we have a
Yeah.
guy, if we go double big and we test this out for like 3 to 5 minutes, and we have Plumlee sit at like the free throw line, basically like we're trying to beat like a 2-3 zone, and we have him as like our short roll, short porch guy to get like lob passes in the Wemby. I think that's seriously though. I think that's an avenue you could at least try, because I think the Wemby lobs is what changes the series. Nobody can reach as high as he can, but you have to at least have a lane or an avenue to get
Yeah, a little
past
high
him.
low.
And I
Yeah.
would try that depending on
Mad
what like lineup
scientist
that
Beck.
the Thunder have out there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
you're down to your backs against the wall, so I think they have to find a way to get like another playable body in this series too. I think it's a big issue
Yeah.
because they don't trust Carter Bryant at all right now. He's had like dumb mental mistakes in this series. Like it's obviously Mitch Johnson he just doesn't think he's ready for the moment, and I don't know. Like if you don't get like a good Keldon
Plumlee
Johnson
ready for the
performance,
moment?
like you're relying on Harrison Barnes. Like I think Harrison Barnes is another guy you can try to have with those pocket passes off like a short roll. It's tough though.
I just think
you have to find a way to get.
yeah. No,
get
you're
those
right.
easy options.
You're right. I just think if we're mulling over like, do we roll Mason Plumlee out there, then
Yeah,
the
I think
series
it's
is probably
GG's.
over.
Yeah.
As like I think you got to try something, but like for every move that the Spurs can make, the Thunder can
Thunder
just
have a
make
counter,
better
man.
one. And like,
Yeah.
that's kind of the story of the series. And listen, I still have the Spurs in game 6, and I think they can win the series. But when we talked about the Spurs potentially just being ready much earlier than we thought, we're starting to see some of the cracks with like some of these younger guys. Like Harper hasn't been himself, and I know the injury plays a role in that, but Carter Bryant, not ready for the moment, really. He's had decent stretches here and there, but Castle, too many turnovers. Like we're starting to see even Wemby's had games where he looks bad. So like we're starting to see the youth kind of catch up to them. And we're also starting to see that even though the Spurs have done a great job building this team and they've done sort of like a Thunder light build and with even higher end top end guys, the full depth is just years behind and it's catching up to them.
Yeah, they so badly need a backup big that's playable.
Yes. Which like Cornette, it sucks that Cornette isn't playable because he seemed, especially throughout the regular season too, like the perfect backup big for Wemby.
Yeah,
Like
playable in this series is different than
yeah,
playable.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
different level.
The Thunder are a tough matchup, especially if they roll. Like they have so many weird lineups they can roll out there that they're just like Cornette can just look so bad in. So yeah,
Against this team, it's just impossible to overcome an injury to Harper that like pretty much renders him like useless. And Fox also fighting an injury he's also been he's been pretty bad like when he's played. So like that's like your third and fourth best player.
Yeah.
And if you don't have your third and fourth best player against a team of this caliber, like it's just a tough road, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, who do you guys have in game 6?
And Spurs, I think this is
Spurs?
a definite game 7 series or 7-game series. I
You
hope-
have OKC in 7?
Yeah, and I kind of feel like game 7 is just going to be like a letdown, kind of like follows the script of this one. We need a banger. we need a banger.
We might
Do we
get
have
one in
a-
game 6.
Do we have any like injury news on the Thunder
On the
guys.
Thunder front?
I mean, I don't think J-Dub's coming back this series. I
No,
think
yeah.
AJ's even more cooked than him. I think AJ's injury is pretty bad. They were talking about like I think it's like his soleus,
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
which is always a bad sign. But it's like I think it's like part of your calf or like your lower leg,
If
which
you're
like
not,
that's never good, man.
yeah,
Like,
no. And it feels like the Thunder are a team. I mean, I feel like they won't even test it because
they
they've
don't.
seen that they can
It's
they can
crazy to
win.
say that they just like don't need to
Yeah,
play either
they
of
don't
them the
need to.
rest of the series.
It's tough for me if we're getting this version of Harper and Fox, I just don't
Yeah.
really see a way they can win.
Yeah, the Harper's thing is the saddest part because like
Yeah, because he was
game one
looking
Harper was
special,
so.
man.
Is there any because I do think he played in game four, even though the numbers didn't look great for him. I do think he looked like spry and like played relatively well. Do you think that like just Fox being back in the fold, is there any degree of just like he doesn't really know his place in the equation anymore? Like, is that factoring into
It's
some of
definitely
this?
part of it. I mean, it's hard when you're like the third guard, and then you also have Wemby and other guys too, like Champagne and stuff. So it's certainly a factor because he looked good in game two too
Yeah.
until he went out. So, but since then he's giving you absolutely just nothing. So it's hard for me to just expect in game six that he comes back to life. Like it's kind of like I just have to believe it when I see it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think the injury, along with the physicality that you're getting in the series, that he hasn't been a factor as much before. That's completely it. I don't think it's a moment thing for him or like a
Yeah,
situation.
I agree. I'm
No,
not
I'm
worried
not
about
saying it's a
his.
moment.
Yeah,
I'm saying it might be like the like
He doesn't know his place in the pecking order. I got you. I don't think it's that either, though.
he doesn't even get opportunity. Like it's not knowing, it's not getting the chance. Like he doesn't even get the chance to
I
know.
mean, like
I
He
think
played
that's
20
injury-
minutes.
He got picked
I
by
think that's
Casey
more
Wallace in the
injury
backcourt like
related,
twice.
though.
It's definitely
It's obviously he's struggling with the
yeah.
physicality and like how his body renders the B in the series the way it's at.
Yeah. I mean, I think
it's
Casey Strip's a fully healthy Harper. Like that to me is like he also has to fix like the handle's not perfect yet. I think him getting
Yeah.
downhill is special already, but like that's a huge issue for the Spurs in general. Is like they don't really have a fantastic ball handler. I think Fox is definitely the best, but
The best, yeah.
I mean you don't really have like Castle, as we've seen over the course of the series, is just like way out of his league in terms of like the pressure that he's facing at as high up the court
to
as
that
he's
point,
facing.
Jordan McLaughlin should probably play like
I was like
7
not
minutes.
even really kidding,
Yeah.
but like he
No,
needs to
he's
play a
good.
little bit more. Yeah.
He calms the team. He's like
Yeah,
it's
if
like
this
a
is the
very Mike
version-
Conley light.
Yeah,
Where
for
it's
sure.
like-
No, seriously.
I've
No,
seen it
it's true.
firsthand. He was
It's
really
just
good for
fun.
the T-Wolves against the Grizz in
If
2022.
if this is what you're getting from Harper and from Fox for that matter, like yeah, I see no reason because I mean Harper's just giving you absolutely nothing for 3 games, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say on the injury front with Harper, like his game is so heavily predicated on him getting into people's
Getting-
chest in the
Yeah, it's
lane
everything.
or in the mid range. Like, yeah, it's tough. So we'll see. I still expect the Spurs to win game six, although I do think it's probably more likely that OKC close the series out in game six than it is that the Spurs win both of these games.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
tend to agree.
So we'll see. And I think game six might be fucking cinema just because I think the Spurs are going
really
to play
hope
with
so.
so much desperation in this one on their home floor. And I don't think OKC wants to have to play a game seven, but
Yeah.
we'll keep an eye on the injury report too. Any last words on that series?
Go
Just
Spurs, go.
prime Kyle Anderson would be so special on this Spurs team right now. Like
Yes.
that is who they
That
need.
is the archetype of player
Yeah.
that they could use. Like a good rebounder, can pass out of the high post, can defend, can scale up defensively, can play some small ball 5 minutes.
And he plays at his own pace, so it's like he's not as affected by physicality as
Right.
other guys would be.
Just because we're talking about it, I'm interested, or talking about the Spurs, I'm just interested for some preliminary thoughts on the potential Spurs obituary going forward with this team in the future.
Mm-hmm.
What obviously Fox like isn't really in their long-term plans.
Right.
Like
He's the short-term
it's
window. Yeah.
yeah. But like, what do you think about? Because to me, Harper is like the point guard of the future of this team. And it's not that I don't like Castle, but I don't think they're like the best fit with each other. What do you think about like going forward? Do you think that they look to move one of those guys? Well, I mean, if they do move one, I feel like it would be Castle, but or do you think
I wouldn't.
they're just young enough to let it roll for now and
Yeah, I
maybe
wouldn't.
get there later?
Yeah, I think the Fox thing's something you worry about at the end of next off season.
Yeah, I
I'll
think
give him
Fox
another.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fox, I'm cool on. The Harper and I'd keep Harper and Castle.
I think I tend to agree. What
There's
do you
so
think?
much
But
room to
like,
grow for both
what
of
do you
them.
think about like? But like next year though, say they lose in 6 or in 7. Like, do you even want Fox here next year? Because like to me, I'm like, I'd rather just roll it out there with Harper and let him fully like
Yeah,
grow into the
feel
type
all
of
the growing
player.
pains of
Yeah,
yeah.
rather than like have him kind of coming off the bench for a lot of the year with and Fox is still like it's not like you're gonna play Fox 20 minutes a game if he's here.
The problem is, as we've learned in the NBA, like the best time to contend is when like your star is way ahead of the
Yeah,
curve and like you have him on a rookie deal. And like
totally.
and you have three guys right now who are just like playing way above their pay grade. And like Fox was kind of a move to say, like, we're gonna bring in somebody who not has been there on like a championship pedigree level, but like
Yeah,
is a
he's
is a
playing big
well-respected
basketball game. Yeah.
star in the NBA. And
And
like
also they obviously didn't know they were getting Harper. I just think when they traded for Fox, I just think
mhm.
it's obviously not perfect with them three, and you'd just so much rather have a different third guy with Harper and
Yeah,
Castle
different
after those two.
profile.
You'd rather have a different, like you'd rather have a really good wing.
Well, Carter
Uh,
Bryant is the hope
that's
to become that. Yeah.
yeah. It's just interesting to see like kind of how that unfolds between Harper and Fox next year, assuming
Yeah.
that they
I mean,
bring
best
Fox
case
back.
scenario, which I think is like a realistic possibility, is you just have him naturally outplay him and take his job.
Yeah, and take a
I think
Yeah,
spot.
that is
that's
like in the
best case.
cards.
Yep. Well, the problem is this Fox contract is not very
I was about to
movable.
say what that's the issue because it's like
It's
if you
53
move
next year, then
yeah, if you
57 the
move
following year.
off him, like you're kind of like selling him for probably way less than his actual like player cat. Yeah, like he's signed through 2030,
Yeah,
man.
dude, there's a lot of
I,
years left on that
I mean,
contract.
it will look better even in like a year. I think it's much more movable. Like there's much
Yeah,
worse
you got to move it
contracts. Yeah.
fast though, is the thing.
I was gonna say like that's
That
kind of what I was
contract gets
getting at.
really bad
He's due
fast.
60 million in 2029, dude.
Yeah, when he's 32. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I think you can find a bad team at like a deadline who would take that on though. And at like say it's like 2029, which would be like
I
you'd
don't
have a
think you
year and
want him there in
if you move it at the
2029.
Yeah, there's
deadline
no
and
way you want him there in 3 years. There's no way. Like I don't even know if I
fair
want him there
enough, but
next year.
like just the way contracts change, like I
Yeah.
think by
Yeah.
like
And the
2028, this
salary
doesn't look
cap
like
changes.
that terrible, like
I,
or that unmovable
I think what's
rather.
terrible about it will be that we're already having conversations about is he stepping on the toes of these
Of
other
Harper.
two
Yeah, it's
guys?
been a
And
year.
like this is the first year of that. I don't know in 3 years that's going to be like a miserable discussion. And like he could be really holding your team back in
Yeah,
more
I'm
ways
like
than one,
kind of
financially
on the
and
side of you get
developmentally.
him out kind of as soon as possible. Even if it probably does hurt you in the short term a little bit
Definitely does.
while Harper's going through those growing pains, but I think it gives you a better chance, especially now because you're gonna probably get more for him now than the
I
quicker
don't
you
think
trade
so.
him,
Though.
probably
I
the
think
more
there's
you
less
get.
flexibility with the contract now. So I think if you wait,
There are a lot of
you're
years
gonna
on it,
have
which is
more.
not.
You're gonna have
Yeah,
more takers
that's
down the
true.
line when it like affects your cap less, and he's not a tough.
So
It'll
so
be an easier name to move, I think, in like a year or and a
in
half.
a
Yeah, that's
year,
fair.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think I think that's sort of the timeline that I'm on with you. But yeah, I just think it is tough though, because like you're stuck between these two minds of like building a championship team right now and like also prioritizing these guys and their development. Uh,
Yeah,
it's a fine line, and like the Thunder were able to sort of figure it out.
do both.
I think this is a good Spurs front office. I think they've been very fortunate in the draft to get some of these
Definitely.
guys. But we'll see. I think they still have a chance in this series. But I
Yeah,
think this
absolutely.
offseason will be really, really interesting. Not only like the bigger name guys, but like how do you start to put some pieces around them with like some margin swings that could maybe change a series like this? They just need a few guys here and there, and I think that's kind of how they can get over the hump. But yeah, I'm stoked for Game 6 special. Also, I just wanted to bring up the Sixers. Name some candidates for a new president of basketball ops. And among them was Jameer Nelson, pretty special. Matt Lloyd, also from the
I'm
T-Wolves.
good on Jameer.
Nick Uren of the Phoenix Mercury. And Mike
Yeah.
Gansey of the Cleveland Cavs were the top 4 names mentioned.
Wait, who was the guy that Hinkie loved including that? Which one's he again?
Vince Rosman. He was not mentioned in the Tony Jones article.
Okay, I
but
saw him on like tweeted about prior then.
yeah,
I'm just fully in on him and blind trust of Hinkie. I'm definitely good on Jameer Nelson just because of like
rising
the
star.
it's like the Elton Brand thing again, I feel like. And it's just like, I'm all right on that for now. Like, let's get a basketball mind in here rather than a former player, with all due respect, of course. Yeah, we'll see what happens. It'll
I
be
mean,
interesting.
what's the deal with Bob Myers?
He's so all right,
Leading
here's the Bob
search.
Myers thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
Which I kind of wanted to get to on this. What's happening is Josh Harris really wants Bob Myers to run the team. Bob Myers doesn't really want to run the team, and he makes a shitload of money and doesn't really have to run the team if he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
So he's in this weird like advisory role overseeing everything. And I guess everything has to run through him at some point. But he's not with the Sixers every day. This isn't like, I don't even know if this is his first priority. He's involved in like ownership groups with obviously the Commanders and other shit. Like, he's just not a day-to-day front office leader for us. But he's more in like an advisory role. So he's leading the search for the president of basketball ops. I've also seen that maybe you bring in Jameer as the GM in Elton's old role, because Elton will be applying for this president of basketball ops role, so he might be gone.
Yeah,
if he
fuck
doesn't
it.
get
Let's
it.
just have Jameer and Elton run the
So
team.
Jameer,
That would be great.
Jameer is the GM, and then a president of basketball ops over him, like a Matt Lloyd or a Mike Gansey from Cleveland. Lloyd is the one that's interesting to me. I'd be interested in that. I think he's a good GM for Minnesota. I don't know. We'll see. Not the most exciting list I've ever seen.
Yeah, like let's chill out with the Phoenix Mercury candidate. That's
Well,
what it.
I think his background prior to that, he might have had a Warriors stint with Bob Myers prior to that, which is really why he's in the mix. But yeah, Phoenix Mercury special team. So, ew. Anything else?
He bailed Brittany Griner out of Russia, so he's on her top of her list. Top 3.
Fuck, that is special. The president couldn't do it. Anything else before we wrap up here, lads?
Nah.
That's
Go
it from me.
Spurs, go.
Let's go.
Safe basketball.
OnlyFans Thunder.
Please.
Yep.
OFC.
Only flops.
Special. Thank you, folks, for listening. We'll see you at 50. Next episode's 50, baby.
Special.
Wow, special.